Action activate. Is that it?
Yeah.
Here we come, there they go. Evil runs, 'cause they know we're super soldiers. We got cool clothes. You will swoon when you see our pose. Henshin, energize, mask on. Time to ride. Combine, grease ties.
Hey, what's going on? This is Action Activate. We're coming on at a different time, a different day, but it's going to be good. It's going to be actiony. It's going to be activating. I, of course, am the big Dawg Defender, and with me today is...
The Gazbot Night.
Yes, that's right. No, of course, I am Gazbot. This is the big Dawg Defender. We normally do this Monday. It's Tuesday. We normally do it at 5. It's 6. Things have been crazy. We have Matt Kendall Clare. Hello, sir. Let me go to our full Ranger Show shot. What is going on? We missed a week because I was at Ranger Stop, and I didn't get back until Monday night, and that whole week was crazy for me, so we skipped it. Then we came back, or before we left, though, I watched the wrong episode. So we missed one episode, but we're also 2 episodes behind now of Beast Morphers. So we're gonna go over 2 today, and then next week we'll go over 2 more, and then we'll be caught up. So that's my bad. And the reason we didn't have it yesterday, for those that don't know, is I had a root canal which they started yesterday and finished today, and I still have to go get it capped another day. So that's just been super pleasant, and it would not have been a good show. I'd been like, shut up, whatever, I don't care, you're stupid. We thought this would be better.
So everything with your kind of dental history recently is similar to the show. Instead of doing it in pieces, let's just do it all together.
Yes, let's do it all together. So we're going to review the episode, I believe, 16 and 17, which is the episode we should have reviewed last time, which is Seeing Red. Above me is Art. I'm a Power Ranger artist, but actually I should switch so you can see oops, that's the wrong one. It is Kermit, but that's I think I have a process video for Kermit. Let me see if I can turn this off. There should be a process video for Kermit, and I don't see it. So you know what? Whatever. We'll just do the slideshow. You guys already saw it
live.
We're doing it live. So unless you have any preamble, let's go right into Seeing Red. You have any preamble?
So before we jump into it,
Okay.
Kind of one sentence preview review. What'd you think?
I did not love it.
I didn't either.
Okay.
It's funny. I just watched the live panel that you did at Ranger Stop.
Oh, right. And for anybody else that wasn't at Ranger Stop that wants to see that, I did it with Steve Andrino, Babu. I put up a version on YouTube which you could check out. It's incomplete. We missed the end, but anyway, go ahead.
I like the part you're like, yeah, a lot of the dynamic on our show is we kind of started agreeing on things, then we really didn't, and people liked it when we didn't agree. So I'm curious how this goes, where I have a strong feeling we're going to disagree on 17, but it seems like 16 so far we're pretty aligned.
We'll see. We might be more aligned than you think, but who knows?
All right.
So
let's jump in.
See. Matt Kendall Clare says I saw the audio for Ranger Stop. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't. The whole panel, it was great, but it was a learning experience. I've done panels before as an artist, but never trying to do a live show. And originally I was going to do it by myself, and then Steve said he could come at the last minute, and then we had to switch hardware. The people helped us out, but everything got changed constantly. So by the time we got there, I just put my phone down to try to record us, and the video was just like our chins, so it looked terrible. So that's why I just did audio. And then because it was my phone, I ran out of space by the time I hit the 40-minute mark. So it's better than nothing. But next time I have a panel, I will plan better so that we could capture a version that could be seen by those that weren't able to make it. So moving on to the episode, Seeing Red, which is what we were supposed to do last time. And obviously it is a Devon-focused episode, as you were saying last week. And I'm like, no, it's a Ravi-focused episode. What do you mean? And we start off with Ben and Betty, who are carrying a cake. And, oh, boy, Devon's going to run into it. He's running around. He's going to hit the cake. But astonishingly, he doesn't. And we see a robber. And they kind of pivot around and they catch it, which is, I like that. That's a funnier joke to me that they didn't drop it. One interesting thing, though, is they make a point of saying it's vanilla. And it can be vanilla, but it's weird that it's like blue. Like they made a point of making it blue. It's probably vanilla on the inside. I only bring that up because, spoilers, we see cakes again later that are also supposed to be vanilla that are also not white or yellow. And my experience is that most time vanilla is white. That's just,
Yeah.
maybe in New Zealand it's different. I mean, wherever they're filming that. Where's Grid Battle Force supposed to be? What town does it say? Somewhere in
Um,
America, though, is my point.
not Mariner Bay. I
Not
know
Mariner
that,
Bay, but
and
all,
not Angel Grove.
not Angel Grove, but it is supposed to be in America somewhere. So let's see. So he sees the thief. He does not get the cake. Now the thief goes to this fancy sports car. Devin's chasing him. This is where I start to dislike the episode. This early. I don't know about you. Now here's why. I am gratified because we see him. He's going to catch him, and he looks down at the rage crystal. Wait, fury crystal. He looks down at the fury crystal, which the name and the look alone. This is what I said before. It just looks evil, and I'm like, I can
Yep.
see them misusing it and messing. And everyone's like, "What makes you think that?" Well, I was right. Because
Everything in the episode. Yep.
I was right, but I'm not happy to be right because we've seen episodes about the abuse of power and about addiction and things like that before in various things. I like it better when it ramps up slowly and they lose a fight and then they have to like find a way to win and they take the shortcut. Here's Devin. He is just as a human. He's a martial artist. He's an athlete at the top of his game. He might have
Has
been
super speed.
No, I'm not even getting into that. I'm saying he might have been able to run down this thief as a human. Then as a Power Ranger who all seem to have enhanced abilities, even unmorphed, he might have been able to run him down. As the specific Cheetah Ranger, he has super speed. He could definitely run him down. Or he could have morphed and been even more powerful. So, like, he had all these levels to try. And he's like, nope, you know what? I'm going to use the Fury Crystal immediately. Immediately. Already I'm upset about this.
Yeah.
So he goes
I was
in-
upset before this.
Really?
Where they're like, Ben and Betty have a cake. I hate this season where everything Ben and Betty does has to be slapstick. Every time. There's like a handful of times where it's not slapstick because of the writing staff. Thank you, those of you
Right.
who wrote it that way. But it's just so annoying because I love them as characters and I hate how oh, look, they're going to have a cake. I wonder what's going to happen.
I agree, but don't you like that they made it so that it didn't actually fall? Like that was a better joke to me.
No, because even in that, I'm still frustrated because this time they changed it a
Hey,
little.
Van
Good on
Illustration,
you
thank
guys.
you for the subscription.
Thank you, Van. Like more often than not, we know how it's going to end, so I literally eye roll every time I see it.
I agree that they do it too much, but I thought this was a good way of, much as I hate to use this term, subverting our expectations. Also, Matt Kettleclair corrected me. It's Fury Cell, and they agree that it does look evil. Yeah.
The other thing too that I just realized is they always bookend them, which also frustrates me.
I'll agree with that. They don't need to bookend it. And actually, to your point, even though Devin didn't smash it, here comes a cop. I was unclear if he was a security guard or a cop. He presents himself as like an actual cop, but the uniform looks weird. Maybe that's because it's a costume or New Zealand or whatever. But of course, he comes in and he smashes the cake. And he doesn't just smash it; it goes all over Ben's face. Which yeah. But now, okay, so we cut back and we see Devin morphed in his Fury mode, chasing the car with super speed. I don't have any issue with that. He should have no trouble doing this. But again, we've seen him do this without the Fury Crystal. We've seen him do it without being morphed. And we have applauded, hey, look, he's using his superpowers. It's just, I guess it's because they wanted, it's a half-hour episode or 22 minutes after commercials. Yeah. And they want it to be concise, but I would rather they spread it out the same way they're spreading out the power sucking things that Scrozzle made. Spread this out. Maybe he starts using it and in the beginning it's awesome and he's saving the day, but then he starts getting desperate and using it a little too much, and then he starts being a jerk. Like it would have so much more impact and be so much more realistic to the way people work than just like, woo, I'm gonna be, it's like I found a pack of cocaine, I'm gonna eat it all the first day, blue, like it's like people don't work that way.
Yeah.
But so he catches the car. And he lifts it up over his head with super strength. And I'm not sure what level of strength he has as a ranger previous to Fury Cell. What's that? Yeah. I
was going to say, I chalked it up to that.
Me too, because I imagine this is the sort of thing Ravi could do with the gorilla strength that the average ranger can't do. I feel like the average ranger could like lift it up to get a kid out from underneath it maybe.
Yeah,
but not,
I agree with that.
But this seems like the Fury Cell and he's showing off. And one other thing to point out, speaking of New Zealand, the driver is on the right side of the car, which we don't have in America. And in case that was unclear, he's going to hear, which seemed like weird because that's an easy fix. You just flip the film, or you have the actor sit on the other side. So it was just a weird, like, I guess kids don't drive, won't notice. But as someone who knows it's shot in another country, it made it super obvious.
Him lifting it up over his head, I think, is all right, stop paying attention to logic right now and just roll with it.
Well, no, but we both said the logic is using the Fury Cell. There he is, my art. Let me see. Van Illustrations.
I got it.
says, I got to bounce, but I'm looking forward to catching. Oh, well, thanks, Van. Appreciate it. We always like the views on YouTube as well. Anywhere you want to watch is good with us.
Yeah, and
That-
the comments on the YouTube videos
Absolutely.
also are checked.
I'm
and
better at
appreciated.
checking than the big dog, but he does check
No,
in eventually.
So here's the thing. Time out.
Time out.
I always check, but I don't always comment.
That's worse. That's worse.
And
someone's like, "Hey,
no,
big dog, what do you think of this?" You're like, "Nah," and you just put it away. You don't answer it. Nah,
I don't remember anybody ever addressing a question directly to me.
That might be true, but they might say, "Hey, what do you guys think of this?" Or "What about next episode?" They'll have a question. And
if somebody does it and you don't give an adequate answer, then I will jump in. If not, a lot of times you took care of it.
So now, if you jump in, it's because you thought I was inadequate.
or if it's directly at me. If somebody does one directly at me, I will comment.
Okay,
but
so that's
also,
if you want the big dog to comment, you have to call him out specifically. That's the
say, hey, why is everybody a jerk? Or what did Ravi ever do to you? Things like that, I will comment directly to you.
That's true. I will agree that you have said that. Matt Kendall Clear says Gaz and Defender are agreeing on something. It's just kidding. Well, we are kind of agreeing. It's true. Drago, Power Rangers is also a global brand, so the car thing is not a problem elsewhere. Well, no, it's not a problem in that there aren't countries that have that, but it's supposedly set in America. They didn't say it's set in England or New Zealand or some mythical, supposedly it's in America. I could be wrong about that. Maybe it's not supposed to be any real country, but that's it. Hi, Dolly Girl. Welcome to the stream. We are running a day late, an hour late, but we're going with full strength, double-sided tape.
But we are not $1 short.
No,
as the saying.
No, we are $1 plentiful.
We are a day late, but we have exact change.
So the comp is sort of like, hey, Power Ranger, I mean, thanks, but can you go fight the monsters and leave the criminals to us? Which is fair. But it's also odd. I don't have a problem with him stopping a criminal. The way he stopped it, I think, was a bit like, whoa, this is overkill. But he could have just grabbed him. I mean, anybody could. Theoretically, you or I could grab someone and help the police. Not that I'm advocating people try to do that, but it's allowed,
Vigilantism is frowned upon.
I'm not saying vigilantism. I'm saying like a citizen's arrest. Like a cop is chasing someone, you trip them or something like that. You're allowed to do that, but
if they're holding a cake, don't run into it.
That's the main point, yes. So anyway, he drops the car very irresponsibly. Could hurt the car, could hurt the guy, but whatever. And he runs off because he gets a call that there's a battle going on. And so we cut to the battle where all the other Rangers are fighting, and he zooms in, and they're like, "Oh, good, Devin's here." And he's like, "Blah, blah, 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 I'm crazy, going fast, using my superpower, kicking everybody's butt." Yep. And everyone else is fighting like normal, and he's sort of fighting 5 people at once.
Yeah.
While that's going on, we see, I want to call her Zoe. We see Roxy, and she's got a candle. But of course, by this point, we know she doesn't have a candle. She has the raw materials for the next villain of the week.
Green candle. Just kidding.
It's not. It's white.
No, but she's putting green into it.
No, but it is a white candle, and green candle. No, there never was a white candle for the White Ranger. Never mind. How does he becomes white candle? It doesn't. So she makes this guy who kind of looks like what's his name from Beauty and the Beast? Candelon,
it's not that.
Le Flamme, Candelabra.
Give me. Why?
Candelabra, Monsieur.
Yes, I got it before chat did.
Ninja Steel. You get a Ninja Steel for that.
Ninja Steel. Okay. One quick thing before we jump into Lumiere Monster.
Yes.
I do love in the episodes when they jump straight into a battle while it's already started. That is a Power Ranger thing I really like, and I like how they're kind of bringing it back because from my understanding, I don't remember in the last couple of seasons any memorable moments where this happened.
I think it happened every now and then, but you're right. This season, it definitely gives you the feeling there's always battles going on. This is happening, and we're just tuning into this moment right now.
Exactly.
It makes the world feel more alive. In chat, everybody's saying hi to everybody, and Akidragu says, I think carrying and dropping the car like that was irresponsible because the guy can get hurt through impact. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, but he's a robber, so whatever.
You're still not allowed to break a robber's legs. And also, we don't know that's his car. Maybe he stole the car, and then Devin just damaged somebody else's property.
You know what's funny?
What?
Remember how in a previous episode when we had a very iconic moment where we had the debate of Power Rangers jumping into conflicts that aren't related to monsters?
Yes.
Huh. That's weird.
Yeah, but this is a negative.
Just a few episodes later, some Power Ranger not only morphs but goes into his super mode, as we're gonna call it, and stops a common criminal.
Right. Did you not catch the part where this is all a negative example, where he shouldn't be using his powers this way? He's endangering people.
Perceived as a negative.
Yeah, you are stretching. You are reaching. You are reaching. It's not as though Devin intervened and said, "Hey, I'm going to take things." And no, Devin abused his power and recklessly did someone else's job.
You know what? You're
Everything
right.
about this. What do you mean?
You're right. I think that.
Hold on.
Devin,
Say that again.
I think.
No.
Devin,
Say that again.
I'm not giving you that. I think that Devin maybe should have left things to the proper authorities, and that Ravi definitely, with no other adults or people of authority around, should have let that kid get bullied and scarred, traumatically, psychologically by having his tuba thrown away and had soda poured into it and turned into a monster not shortly after.
You can't blame Ravi for the bullies turning he couldn't have known that was going to turn into a monster. And that sets up. You're saying like, oh, every time someone gets bullied, their thing gets turned into a monster. That had nothing to do with it. They're completely separate.
No, it was happenstance.
Yes,
but you're right. Devin shouldn't help the proper authorities with a dangerous bank robber.
Not the way he did. Not the way he did.
Ravi should just stand by while kids get bullied.
You know it's different. You know it's different. You know it's different. You're just trying to cause conflict. You're just trying to make yourself look right. It's not the same. It's not at all the same. This is a negative example. You're just trying.
Yes.
Let's see what chat says.
Reviewed episodes in 3 weeks. We got to make up for lost time. Give the people what they want.
Well, Aki Drago agrees with me that it was irresponsible. Matt Kendall Clare says the monster wasn't named on screen, but if I recall correctly, the ending credits seem called Burntron. I prefer Lumiere.
Lumiere monster.
And Matt Kendall Clare says I get a Ninja Steel point, so thank you. Aki Drago Ravi is a karate instructor also, so he was doing his job. Ish, and I get the point. So yeah, whether Ravi should have intervened or not is debatable, but using this as an example of why he should is terrible. I'm just gonna move on. So
you know what, Matt Kendall Clare, I disagree that I think I always like conflict. I think more than anything, I'm willing to take the extra steps to get Gazbot out of his shell when it comes to doing proper debates and analytical thinking with the problems.
But you're not saying you're not saying we
right.
have different points of view or reviewing something on and taking different things from it. You're saying here's an example, here's another example. They're completely different. This negative example reinforces this one. They're completely dissociated. I'm moving on.
You know what? I think what it is that I'm making great points. You're trying your best to refute them, but at the end of the day, we all know what the right answer is, and you're
taking advantage of the fact that my light is packed away. That's why I'm in darkness and you're on light. So you're trying to make it look like I'm the sinister one. Look, we got to get through 2 episodes. We can't keep arguing about an episode from 2 weeks ago.
It's been 20 minutes and 5 minutes in the episode, guys. Quit holding us up and let's keep going.
Anyway, the Fury Cell is being depleted, and this is the first time we've gotten an indication that they do get depleted. I don't know why they thought they would last forever, especially Nate, because they're batteries, they're energy sources. Nothing is permanent, nothing is fixed, like at least not that we've ever seen. Even Morphex runs out. So he's like, uh-oh, it's running out, and he does the super speed, and he stops, and it was previously bright red like his suit, like all the add-ons, and they turn kind of a dark maroon, like it's powered down. Now, here's the other thing I was thinking. Nate built this. He built it before they had the Fury Cells, right? He was just going to power it with Morphex, and it was red, and it powered up. So the Fury Cell overpowers it, if anything. So it's weird to me that when it loses power, it turns kind of this maroon color. Does that mean there's no Morphex as a backup source? Or does that mean – what does that mean?
I will defend Nate and say that the catalyst of the Fury Cell is burning out the hardware, and the only way that'll replete it, that's not a word.
Replenish.
To give it replenish, thank you.
Yeah.
Is another Fury Cell. So it's one of those things that, for those of you that like the movie Crank starring Jason Statham, kind of like that. Just the plot of that whole movie.
The more you use it, the more you have to use it. Otherwise, it's
kind of thing.
I guess, but it does seem like I'm going to take that the Fury Cell is like somewhat evil magic and like twists the technology and makes it work in ways that it normally wouldn't, because otherwise it makes no sense. But that's fine.
The wearer and the technology. I will say, though, it looks ominously like a kyber crystal, and I really like when it goes all black. And it really makes me want a black kyber crystal.
So it turns like the maroon dark, and then it starts glowing when he powers it up again because he stole the other Fury Cell. And he pulls out his claws, which I do think look cool here. And one of the other shots in the other episode, I said they look awkward. I like the claws.
Yeah, because he held them funny.
Yeah, they're a cool weapon. It's just like you have to hold them right.
Yeah.
And so, but Roxy's like, I know how to deal with this, a gun, because as we've learned, the gun is the way to go in this show, except he blocks it and it doesn't work this one time because he's so powered up. The rest of the Rangers just kind of standing around like, what is going on? Like Devin's got his whole thing going on here. Like he's in his own little world, which he is. And he blocks the shots. He comes in. He does some cool swipes. I don't know if I got a good screenshot, but there's like energy coming off of the claws. It looks very like fighting game style, like razor claw attacks.
Yeah.
And then Steel and Nate set up for their super attack, but Devin knocks the enemy out of the way and like hits him with the claw and his super speed and defeats him, which is not the worst thing in the world. It's sort of like, okay, well, you kind of kill stole, but it's not like a video game where they get experience. It doesn't really matter. It just seemed weird. And they're kind of like, why did you do that? It was unnecessary, but not yet to the point where everyone's like, you're out of control. Just sort of like, you're and I think Steel even makes a joke like, boy, look at this show off. He's kind of grandstanding or something.
Steel said something great, and whatever it was, I agree with it. Is a way to summarize this show.
A note I made, I forgot. When he's holding up the car, he says that the officer's like, what's going on here? And he's like, he's holding up traffic. Get it? Devin says this. The joke doesn't work because Devin is holding up traffic, not the guy. Whatever. He says get it, which is also not a good sign. And this is proof that Devin shouldn't make jokes. Steel should make jokes. Devin should not make jokes. And that was the first indication, if I needed another one beyond everything else, like, oh, he's turning evil because he's telling bad jokes. He shouldn't be doing that.
I actually have a point of him turning evil when we get to Riptide later, if you can remind me.
Okay. But Steel says, like, what a show off. So Roxy and Lumiere disappear because they're like, well, he's too tough. I like this here, too. We see Ravi with the fan going back to the idea that he overheats when he uses his power too much.
I did like that as well.
We've seen Zoe previously talk about being hungry and eating a carrot. Ravi, not so much. Devin, never. He gets scared when he sees I forget what it is. He sees something and he freezes up, a certain animal.
He's supposed to see a dog.
Is it a dog? Yeah, and
he literally can't move.
Right, and that's stupid, and I hate it. But they haven't even made reference to it.
Thank God.
Yeah, but they make reference to these guys, so it's a weird. Even if he like overcame it, and just got kind of nervous around dogs or something. I don't know. It's inconsistent. But I like that Ravi's cooling himself down. So Devin, now Devin stole the other one, and he switches out the new Fury cell for the old one. And what happened here? Oh, Nate pulls a piece of his hair. I love this screenshot. He's like, oh, look, there's something on your head. And he pulls it. And the actor who plays Devin just is like, like completely sells it like the most painful hair being pulled.
It reminded me of like a basketball or soccer flop for anybody who watches those sports. Whenever like they want to get a penalty shot or something like that, just
and oversell it.
And then like nobody calls anything, and then they stand up and they're like, all right.
Aki Drago says it looks more like a Z Crystal from Pokemon. I don't remember what the Z Crystals look like. That might have been after.
No idea.
I haven't played Pokemon in a little while or watched the show in a little while, so it's probably one of the newer inventions to the show.
It's probably from X and Y, if I had to guess.
Okay, so now we're back to the evil zone of evil, and we see Blaze and Scrozzle and Roxy, and they're with Lumiere, and they're talking to Evox, who is not thrilled with the way things are going, which is par for the course because they've lost another Fury cell rather. But Scrozzle's like, okay, Lumiere, take this, get the cheetah power. We really got to finish this storyline that we've been working on for a while, which again, I like that they've been working on for a while. And that's our first commercial break. Let me check chat real quick. Matt Kendall-Clare, Cameron Rhodes is who voices Burnatron, who's also known as Lumiere. He was also the voice of Carnosaur, the Sky Overlord in Jungle Fury. Oh, okay, cool. Nice. And he also did the voice of Professor Cog in Samurai and Super Mega Force. All right, so quite a few parts there. Thank you for the trivia, Matt Kendall-Clare. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
We come back from the commercial break. Devin is like acting all antsy and I'm impatient and I'm waiting for my shake and I can't even sit still. Which I guess because he's becoming like an adrenaline junkie or something. It's a little unclear why.
Sure.
So they're sitting at the table.
We'll go with that for this children's show.
Sure. Well, I mean, we're dealing with addiction. I mean, they may not have called it that, but that's what this is.
That's true.
And so they're like, hey, have you noticed Devin being a little weird? And like, I don't know, kind of just the first kind of conversation. Once again, Steel out in the open. Not a big deal. Why did they make a big deal of it earlier? I'm fine with everyone accepting it, but they shouldn't have made a big deal of it earlier. I feel like
it's not a big deal for the big steal. You know what I'm saying?
That's terrible, but it made me laugh, so okay.
You're welcome.
Arizuki says, hello from Roxana's room. Whoa, hello, and we get one unicorn heart. Matt Kendall-Clare, always full of trivia, and hey, cute. And then Aki Dragu says he's becoming a steroid junkie. Yeah, same thing. However you want to put it, there's definitely addiction involved there. So he comes back, and instead of sitting with his friends, he sees people practicing with the, I guess those are kendo swords, right?
Yeah.
And we in the first episode we saw him using them, and he was sort of teaching and being a little aggressive, but not in a terrible way. And now he's like, ugh. And again, he looks at the crystal. He is skilled enough as a fighter, he could jump in and take one or two of them on anyway. Plus, he's a Power Ranger. But he needs to use this Fury Cell. So it's like very clear that it's less about how powerful it makes him or what good he's doing, and more just like he likes the feeling of using it, because there's no reason that he needs to use it here, especially now that he knows it gets depleted. So he jumps in and he fights these guys who are like, we didn't even want to fight you, and not even a bookend, but a middle bookend. We have Ben with the new cake he got. Hey, look, another vanilla cake that is like turquoise for some reason.
I
And
think just because it pops on screen, honestly.
I agree, but make it white. I don't know. It's just a weird choice. I think you're right though. It's just to make it brighter on screen. So he puts it down.
Yeah.
The table gets bumped and it slides, but doesn't actually like break or fall apart where it can't be used. But then Betty comes, is like, "What's going on?" with her face acting, and of course she sits in it. Womp womp. There's the slapstick where they kind of set it up the same way, where it looks like it was going to get destroyed. It just fell in the chair. Then she destroyed it. So that's 2 times we've used that joke. That's fine. We're setting up for a 3rd time. I wonder what the twist will be on the 3rd time for the big payoff. So now they're like, "What's with you, Devin?" He's like, "I'm fine. With this." Oh no, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. They're like, "We have a call. We have to go." And he's like, "What? I'm just in the middle of something." So he would rather overpower fight these students than go and fight real
Yeah.
monsters and real threats. So again, it's his everything about him is being twisted, his priorities are being shifted. Luckily, the team notices this. Go ahead.
Yeah. So for this scene, I honestly think that the actor who played Devin literally was like, "All right, what would Blaze do right now?" And just channeled Blaze from the first
Oh.
episode all throughout that. That's all I was thinking. Where I was like, "Man, a lot of the facial expressions and mannerisms are very similar right now."
I can see that. I can absolutely see that. Arizuki makes a point that the actor who plays Ben, whose name I don't have in front of me right now, he's on a sitcom called Superstore this week,
Oh,
and he
he
has a
is?
speaking point.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think he's a regular, but it's always good when we see Ranger actors go and do other stuff, and being that he's comedic, being on a sitcom, that works perfectly.
Yeah, that's
So
really cool.
so the other Rangers and specifically Nate realize something's going on. Nate's like, "Hey, I took your DNA, I ran it." The commander's like, "Yeah, you're out of control. You're getting more aggressive." And he's like, "But it's worth it. With this, we could win the whole war." Which again makes no sense considering he didn't even want to go to the fight. He doesn't even want to use it for that.
I'll give him that.
Nope. No, here's why. Because he might be powerful. Let's say he's powerful enough to beat any enemy that comes their way. He's burning it up on stuff that has nothing to do with the overall fight. And he's burning it up. He's not just using it. He knows it's depleting. And it's not like, "Oh, we'll wait till their big move and I'll defeat it." He's just running through his energy. So he's just saying anything he can to keep using it. And there's no evidence that he's going to win any kind of war. He's not fighting any big threat. He's just using it constantly.
Okay.
And it'll be used up by the time he might need it for a big threat.
Theoretically.
Matt Kendall Clare says Cosmo Flores, and I believe that is correct. The name of Ben's actor. You want to argue that? What? Not the name of the actor, but
No. So the way I see it, obviously he's swayed by the Fury Cell,
yes.
but he proved both at Riptide and when they were in their previous battle that he could do most of the heavy lifting by himself.
Yes.
So I think his initial thought is, I can use these powers for good without having to rely on other people. And then as he uses it more and as the episode progresses, it turns him full-blown evil.
I mean, maybe this is the pacing issue I talked about before, where I feel like that should not be. We're already there, and we shouldn't be. But the fights that he won sort of single-handedly are the sort of fights we've seen the Rangers win by themselves anyway, without his special power, where it was just the core 3 of a team of 3 or all 5 of them. They weren't unwinnable battles. It would be more of an argument if Evox showed up or Blaze and Roxy got some superpower and that he was able to beat him. That would be a better argument. But he's like, "Hey, I'm winning fights we could normally win, but quicker. Also, I'm using up my power fighting students and doing other things."
Yeah, but I mean, the thing that may be subtle, but that I took as a way of explaining it from how I'm describing it, is that Lumiere and Roxy were a little bit tougher than normal with the Tronics, because after, we haven't seen it in a while, but Ravi had to fan himself, meaning he had to use more energy in that battle, even though Devin ended up winning it all.
I see why you're saying that, but I think they were just trying to show, oh, by the way, he has weaknesses, as opposed, especially because what we set up for later in the episode. I think it was foreshadowing to later in the episode when he overpowers, as opposed to, I think it's all justification, and Devin is like way off base early on in this episode.
I don't know, man.
We cut to the fight. Devin's like, I'm going to do it on my own. So everyone else but Devin shows up, and they morph, and they start the fight like normal. And here's Lumiere and Roxy, but they're like, where's Devin? Because they want the cheetah power. And they also now know that the Fury Cell is turning him evil, so they want that to happen. So they're like, without Devin, we don't care about this. So they're hiding out, waiting for him. Zoe pulls out her gun, immediately destroys 3 Tronics, and then all of them pull out their guns and immediately destroy everyone else. So once again, guns solve every problem in this show, as long as you don't have a Fury Cell. The only thing that can stop a gun is like Fury Cell, gun, everything else. That's the power hierarchy. Pre-Megazord.
Megazord, Fury Cell, gun!
Yes, there you go. So I love this piece of acting right here. This is Zoe. Oh, God, I keep calling her Zoe. Roxy pulls out the Fury Cell and wants to lure out Devin. So she's like, oh, boy, you beat us. I guess I better use this Fury Cell to power up Lumiere. Sure hope nobody takes it, or words to that effect. But it's that sort of bad acting on purpose, and I really like it. And I love, and it shouldn't work, but he's so all, I want my Fury Cell, like that it makes sense, because he shows up out of nowhere, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, she shoots at the bag. She shoots at the Rangers first and defeats them with a gun, because that works. So he shows up, and he's like, give me that. And she's like, oh, oh no, they go, Devin, no. And she goes, Devin, yes. Which again, I love. And Devin is so blinded by rage and consumed by wanting the power, he doesn't even get it. But she's basically telling him she wants him to get it. So he runs in, does a super speed, like little cyclone, but Ravi ends up getting the crystal before he does. This is what I was talking about, the foreshadowing. Ravi is not powered up, Devin is. So the others are still fighting Lumiere. Ravi stands up. Okay, good.
I'll give it to him.
You giving it to Ravi?
I didn't mind him.
Didn't mind. I love when Ravi is normal. You're like, oh, I could barely tolerate him. When he does something bad, you're like, he's the worst Ranger in the history of ever. And when he's doing something good and heroic, you're like, all right, that's not too terrible.
Ravi was good. Ravi stood up. Here, this is expanding because we love continuity. God, guys are getting everything out of me today. So, in the previous episode, when they had the Cyclone Monster, Ravi was like the main guy to try to block, was it Nate or Steel?
Oh,
no, it was Devin. Devin had to power up.
Yeah.
With
they were all blocking for Devin.
And they were all blocking, and Ravi was like one of the last ones because he's strong, and he was just doing it by himself, and more power to him. And I liked him for that because he understood, like, hey, man, I'm willing to sacrifice this because you're going to save us. It's going to be all good. And then now he took it upon himself to say, you know what? Somebody's going to have to fight you. It better be me instead of everybody else. Let's do this. Even though I'm probably going to lose because you're crazy strong. Let's go. And I'll give it to him.
So that means Ravi gets a Ninja Steel point.
There.
So he powers up his gorilla juice, which is enough to kind of catch him. And even powered up with his gorilla power, he's not a match for Devin, but he's more of a match than he would have been. And then Roxy's watching, and yes, Roxy and Zoe, both the Yellow Rangers. I get it confused because I like both of them. That's a good point, Matt Kendall Clare. And so, but even with his power up, he's losing. And Devin's come in with the claws, and I think we go to a commercial here, and then we come back. And meanwhile, the other Rangers fire their guns and defeat Lumiere immediately because guns defeat everything except for Fury Cells. So now Devin gets the Fury Cell, and he's about to use it, and once again, his armor starts depowering. It seems like the more he uses it, the quicker it depletes, too, because this is the second one he's gone through this episode. And this time he waits too long. Oh, and I didn't get a screenshot of it, but Ravi's like steaming, and he's overheated, which is what I was saying before. They were setting it up that he does overheat if he uses power too much. And his armor literally, like, you know, I don't feel so well, Mr. Stark disappears. Like, and that goes back to, like, that doesn't really make sense except for that it's the evil magic of the crystal. That's why that happens. And here's another thing I don't like about this episode. Ravi stepped up, did the right thing. The whole addiction thing has been forced and rushed with Devin. And it concludes not because he has a revelation here, but he doesn't have a moment where he's about to hurt Ravi or whatever. It's because he takes too long to recharge and the evil leaves his system. And then he's like, wait, what am I doing? I am hurting people. And he becomes himself again. I get the message they're going for, but it would have been more poignant if he still was powered up and like kind of stabbed the ground. I just hit my elbow and that really hurt. And why don't you talk to the people for a minute while I rub my elbow?
So
It hurts.
the reason he's laughing is because he hit his funny bone, you guys. So
Yups.
so the problem with the whole scenario with Devin kind of coming to his realization is that we understand from prior that even if he's not morphed and even if he's not powered up, he's still being affected by these Fury cells. And just because it ran out and it's not attached to his gauntlet, he's still holding one in his hand. So it doesn't make a lot of sense why he has this moment of clarity out of nowhere.
Right. And
When-
and I'm sorry, go ahead. And it would have been more poignant if, like I was starting to say, he did the old like stab, but it was next to the ground next to him, and he's like, you're my friend, why am I hurting you? You know, but it seemed like he had this moment of clarity. It would be like an alcoholic like finishing their last beer and being like, I'm out of beer. Wait a minute, I better stop drinking. You know, like it didn't ring true to me. You know, I know he's a hero and he's got to have the moment, and I don't dislike this storyline, but I think it should have been over several episodes, and he should have eased into this decline to evil, and it should have been harder for him to get out. We've seen, that's my main criticism of this episode. It's not the idea of it, it's that they rushed it and it trivialized it.
Honestly, the only thing I can think of that would have made all of us happy with what they previously established is he has the Fury cell because his other one's depleted.
Right.
He still is like gray armored up. He goes to slap it on, repowers up, gets like a roid rage kind of and then somebody either slashes it to break it or shoots it to break it. And then once he's quote unquote 100% away from this, they could kind of hold him back or fight him and be like, don't you get what you're doing? And then he's like, oh, I guess I goofed.
I would have been okay with that too. I would rather see his strength of will and character overcome it even when he's full power. But I'd be willing to see what you said. But it is just rushed and kind of out of nowhere, and I don't love it.
I politely disagree with yours.
Politely?
Yep. Just because everything we saw prior shows like I took it less that he was weak-willed and more that it was just crazy
so powerful.
strong.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And again, I would like. I'm not even saying he's weak-willed. I would like to have seen him overcome it with heroic power. You know, of I'm a hero and I can do this. But if he couldn't, then I go with what you say, that it is just evil that he needs to get away from. But whatever. Aki Drago says it's a bit rushed. So I think most of us agree that the main problem is that it was rushed. So he crushes the crystal. This was a little weird, and he throws it at Roxy. He's like, you want it? Take it. And he throws the pieces at her, and it kind of like scrambles her, which I wasn't sure. Is that hurting her? Is it powering up? Or is it just like as if somebody threw rocks at her? And she's like, hey, but whatever. So she's like, okay, well, I'm out of here. Yeah, so she leaves. And then Ravi's all like wasted from his, power usage, and Devin's all messed up. So they go back to base while the rest of the team heads out. I don't know what the rest of the team was doing. They headed back to base. The rest of the team went out to fight the Tronic that I guess was getting summoned at this point. But I like this, that Ravi's getting taken care of, and Devin's like, okay, we got to get back out there. And he's like, hey, Cruz, let's go. We've never seen this. Him and Cruz running to the Red Racer, or the Red Racer? Robo Racer?
Racer Zord.
The Racer Zord. Usually he rides him and then they get picked up, or Cruz is already in there because Cruz is kind of part of the cockpit. So it's just an interesting choice to have them like run to it together. And again, I've commented before how they kind of weren't really using the B spots much. So any little thing like that, I enjoy that they're bringing them back. And the exception, of course, is Steel, but I don't consider Steel a Beast bot. He's technically a Beast bot, but he's half human. He's a full Ranger. He's in every episode. It's not the same thing.
I agree.
Aki Drago says, I think it might be set up for the future. It's just speculation on my part. Oh, the crystals being thrown at Roxy? That would be great. If like they embedded in her in some way and gave her like a super boost later. I don't think that's it. I hope you're right. I don't think it is, but I would like it if it was.
I personally hate the MacGuffin that is the Fury cells.
Well, they're almost over. I mean,
if that's the truth, unless something else happens,
they're almost over. There might be we'll see. So we go back to the fight, and Zoe using her rabbit power, jumping in, awesome, but she gets knocked down, and Lumiere is just beating everybody up. And there's a weird sort of candle theme in this episode, not just because of Lumiere, but like, well, I'll get back to that. So here's the giant, the Gigatron, the big one. Gigadrone, thank you. So he's there, and he starts attacking the Morphex Tower, and he gets shot by the Racer Zord, and then he calls down these guys. I'm blanking on all kinds of names today, but these guys, these guys.
Those.
The Daft Punkatrons. This is a cool shot of the Racer Zord flying through the fire and the flames, like Dragon Force. Now, he's like let's go to cheetah mode. And he jumps up and he starts fighting the two giant flunkies. And he's spinning around and he's scratching. We shoot him with eye lasers. I 100% forgot it could turn into a cheetah. I think they did it in the first episode, and then since then it's either the Megazord or Warrior mode or the Gigatronics. Thank you. I liked it, but I'm like, what? He could do that? And also I think because the toys, they don't have a triple changer. They have like, you know what I mean? Like the way a Transformer would have it, they could turn it all three. And I think with the Zords, they made it so it was one or the other.
It might be a triple changer.
There might be a deluxe one I haven't seen, but the ones I've seen do not do all three transformations. But the point is, I hadn't seen it. I thought that was cool. I always like when they do something different with the Zord battles. Meanwhile, the giant Lumiere is using his firepower to melt the top of the tower of Morphex. And then down on the ground, they go to shoot regular Lumiere, and he kind of misses, but they put out the fire on his head with the laser. And this is what I was saying. I wonder if in the Sentai this was a bigger deal, or maybe it's a cultural thing or something. Because it almost seems like, oh, they found his weakness. But the way they showed it, it seemed like it was a mistake where they meant to shoot him fully. But he's like, oh no, my flame, you've put it out. And it really felt like it should have been a big deal moment. But I'm
like, gonna say Sentai footage.
I agree, but like, why not? I don't know. They could have incorporated that at any point, like where they knew if they got his flame, they'd get him. But they just never said that, so it seemed a little out of place. Regardless, the three of them pull out their guns and immediately defeat him with the guns. There you go. And he crumbles to a pile of dust, but we see that there is the little data collector, which presumably has gotten the cheetah speed at this point because he's been fighting with the cheetah speed. Let me check chat real quick. Akidragu says it's a triple changer. Yes, but is the toy a triple changer? Matt Kendall Clare says there's a triple changer toy that had been released, but it's been hard to find. In America or in Japan?
Probably in America.
Okay, well that's interesting. Yeah, I had not seen that one. I don't know if I'd get it, but I'd be more likely to get one that had the cheetah mode than not.
Yeah.
So we cut back to the Megazord battle, and basically they're making they're kind of at a standstill until Silver and Gold come in with the, I think it's the Mega Striker. I made a note. The Striker Megazord. So the Gold and Silver combined to make the Striker Megazord.
Gold, Silver Zord. Yep.
Yeah. Now, had we seen this? I'm blanking. I know we've seen their Zords, but
yes, we have.
Okay, because they made it like a big deal, but I guess they were just like it was a dramatic entrance. And so they come in and they use what? Their cannons. It's kind of like a gun. And immediately defeat him. Now, what I like though is there's the big explosion, and normally they would turn around. But they don't. They just keep looking at it. They're like, yeah, we did a good job. Let's keep looking.
I chalk that up to Steel wanting to see.
I absolutely agree. And then there was the fire on top of the Morphex tower, and they used their crane to put it out, again, extinguishing a flame. Going back to, like, is there some kind of theme here that we didn't quite get because it's not the Sentai footage? Let's see what we got here.
Evil elements of evil. Hi, Kyle Goldfinch. Matt Kendall Clare saying hi to Kyle as well.
Hey, Kyle Goldfinch. How you doing? Welcome back.
And Kyle saying hi. So now we're back.
Yes.
Looking at the little power-up thingy-majigs.
Yes.
With the powers.
Yes. Very well said.
Oh, and Roxy and Blaze are arguing again. Like, all right, we got him.
Yeah.
Where are we going with
this?
These?
One's for me. That one's for me. And he's sort of like, get out of here.
What's going on, guys?
Go argue somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which they argue all the time, but it made me wonder. For the first time, I wonder if Scrozzle has, like, you get the feeling he has his own agenda always. But it's like, oh, I wonder if maybe he never intended to give this to either of them, and we're going to find something where suddenly Scrozzle powers himself up, or powers up a minion he's created, or, you know, like, this is his big move to take over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does a laugh, like, he's like, get out of here, you idiots, and then he's like, I can't do the laugh he did. I don't remember what it was like. But it was very jokery. Sure, there you go. I like it. Well, okay, there's an Ninja Steel point for you.
Yeah, Ninja Steel.
Excellent. But so, and again, it was more than what he would normally do, which leads me to believe there's something coming up. But we cut back.
I wonder if we find out what happens with that in episode 18 that released last Saturday.
Did not see it yet, but I guess you did, and mild spoilers there.
No, it's not spoilers. You just find out stuff.
Let's see. Cal Goldfinch said, can we appreciate the beauty of Blaze? He's so awesome. And Matt Claire, well, he is pretty fiery. Yeah, I know. I dig Blaze. I like Roxy better, but I have no problem with Blaze. I like most of the characters and actors on this season. And speaking of which, we got the comic relief of Ben and Betty, who I generally enjoy.
I love 80% of the race. I like
moving on. So they're there, and Devin now is back to his normal self, and he's like, "Hey guys, sorry, I replaced your cake since I was kind of responsible for the other
It's
one.
a white cake.
It is
it's
a white
vanilla.
cake. Yes. See, he's the only one who understands what vanilla is supposed to look like. That's how we know he's the hero. That's why he's the leader of the team. He got a vanilla cake that looks like a vanilla cake. Well done. I'm back on board.
Hey guys,
I forgive
literally
everything.
tried to murder our second in command. Hey, look at this cake.
White vanilla. Kyle Goldfinch says 18 is one of his favorites. And he also wants to know. Oh, and I'll let you read it since he calls you out by name.
Yes. Thank you, Kyle. Wait, Big Dog, what part of the Ranger team do you not like? Akidragu, he doesn't like Robbie. I don't hate Robbie. I've upgraded to, at certain points, hating Robbie, to now, he's all right. I don't love him yet, but he's all right. He's working his way up.
I don't know what he has to do for you to like him. I'm not even saying love, but he's had so many heroic moments and stepping up and done good things, and you're still like,
It's
meh.
a good thing we're talking about episode 17 so soon.
All right, so we're getting in the end. They're all sitting there drinking their whatever health drinks they have, and Ben and Betty have the cake in the background, and they're quick trying to write it. And they're like, "Oh, Dad's coming, we got to write it," and they're making their face actings, and it looks like they're constipated a little bit, And she's like, "Oh," I'm digging it. And then he comes in. Sorry, I skipped ahead. He comes in, and of course they go "Bleh," and squirt him right in the face. So the first two times we saw a cake, almost got smashed, then it got smashed. The third time, they change. It's another cake joke, but it's not like in the same pattern. It's a little different.
Yeah.
They squirt him, but the twist is that he's like, "That's delicious. You have some," and he starts squirting them, and it becomes like a cake squirt fight. Now, do I love this? No. Do I hate this? No. It's more slapsticky, goofy comedy, which I didn't necessarily need, but
Yeah.
it's the first like good moment between the father and his kids. It's the first moment where they're playing, and you kind of see maybe that's where they get it from. He's a bit of a goofy klutz too, and maybe he's just outgrown it. So if we had to have a slapstick moment, I'm glad it went this way, and it was sort of a fun, food fight between them.
Yeah, I like this one better than the others. The other thing that's so funny, and this is in every Power Ranger season, whenever something happens like this, whether it's good, bad, or in between,
right?
At some point they always cut to the Rangers and they do one of two things.
Mm-hmm.
They either shrug or kind of chuckle and like slap their knee.
Yeah.
And I hate it.
Well, I think they did have a chuckle moment, but this is the last shot I'm ending on. If you look, they're all kind of like, "Whoa, we don't want to get hit." So it's slightly different. Yeah. Well, so that's the end of this episode, which was what's it called? Seeing Red, episode 15.
Seeing Red.
So I don't love it. I'd give it like a C-, honestly. This is not my least favorite episode, but it's one of my least favorite episodes.
I would give it it's been a while since I've seen it. I'll probably agree with you, C-. Just because it did have some. Yeah, I know. It had some moments that I appreciated.
Yes.
Like the Robbie stepping up to Devin, I thought was cool.
Same.
The Robert thing was dumb.
Yep.
The slapstick for the first two cake bits weren't my favorite. Devin in his every season has it of, oh, one of the Rangers is bad. I wonder why. Him fighting the two guys was cool.
Yes. Roxy pretending to not want him to get the fuel cell was good.
But then everything else is just...
Yeah, there were good moments, but it didn't hold together and it felt rushed. If this was a B plot spread out over other episodes, it would have been much better. Let's see. Aki Drago doesn't like Ravi. Kyle Goldfinch says, okay, Big Dog. Who'd be a better Blue Ranger than Ravi? Go on.
Oh, are you serious?
Well, I'm not sure how to answer that. Do you mean like throughout the history of Power Rangers, or do you mean just
there are infinite?
I mean, I gotta be honest. I don't hate on Ravi the way Big Dog is, but I could name a lot of Blue Rangers I like better. I mean, TJ right off the top of my head.
Yeah, TJ's arguably the best.
Billy from Mighty Morphin.
Yup. Kai from Lost Galaxy is underrated.
But I don't. Is that what you're asking? Because I mean, we could do that with all of the Rangers. Like, we're just gonna pick our favorites. So I'm not sure.
Overdrive.
Aki Drago
I have
says,
to put that in.
Okay, let me just get back. Aki Drago commenting on the episodes. It's a fun family moment. For me, it's a C+ because I kind of like the addiction theme. It should have been spread out. Well, again, I am not against the addiction theme. Because I like the theme, it bothered me more that they bungled it. Is what it is. Kyle Goldfinch says, just at Beast Morphers, as in the story world. Oh, so what character from Beast Morphers would be a better Blue than Ravi?
Oh,
which is kind of limiting.
Assuming they kept the gorilla strength.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ben, because he would be similar to Ziggy.
Oh, yeah, kind of a goofy hero.
And I think here's the biggest thing. I think that Ben would not only appreciate but also utilize his Beastbot more than Ravi does.
Oh crap! I kind of agree with you, and I think
I know.
Ravi would be better because remember in the beginning where he wasn't like he almost wasn't going to be a Power Ranger because he wouldn't work with them and all this stuff was happening.
Yeah.
If he relinquished it and became just second in command and became kind of like a Silver Guardian type
If
character,
he took over for Commander Shaw,
yes, he'd be a great
literally
commander.
something happened to his mom, he goes up. Then Nate still doing everything he's doing,
Yeah.
Steel being a more active role and then powering him up with their
Yes.
tank. And oh God,
Yeah.
you guys got me so stoked for this totally different
I
season
could see
that
Ravi
we
being
just made.
commander.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, brother.
Oh, and then they make a Green Ranger so that everybody's a Ranger. Oh,
Matt Kendall Clare says that's not a bad idea, Defender. So once again, Hasbro, Saban, Nickelodeon, whoever's in charge at this point, you're welcome.
steal
So
my ideas. Go for it.
all right, so let's end. We'll do just a tiny bit of news, and then we'll end for episode 15. Let me close this. Actually, do you have any news you want to talk about? I figure there's some action figure stuff and some comic book stuff I could think of. But we're gonna do another episode, so pick one of those two, and we'll do one now and do one at the end of the next episode.
Why don't we talk action figures now since it's most relevant to the last video that was supposed to be this?
All right, I'm gonna give you one shot.
Cool. So we got some actual shots, both in box and in hand, and I forget what they're called, but they're kind of like the blueprints for the figures of the next wave.
Wave
So-
5 you're talking about?
Yes.
I found a
'Cause we-
list, but I didn't see. I could pull them up if you tell me what site they're at.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Everything I
Keep-
find is on
keep
Facebook.
talking.
So 3 out of the 4 figures from Wave 5 we've seen.
hmm
We've seen SPD Red.
Yep.
We've seen Seal Blue.
That's Wave 4,
and we-
isn't it?
Now you're
Blaze.
making me second guess. And Blaze.
Yeah, and then
And
yellow
then
MMPR.
supposedly Mighty Morphin Yellow, but not confirmed.
It's only not confirmed because we haven't seen the image, but every source says it will be.
Yeah.
Whatever
that's
wave
the
it
one-
is.
That's the one that I've seen the blueprints of.
Okay, that's
Minus yellow.
okay. So I might know more than you do then. So keep going, and then I'll go next.
No, and then Wave 5 was recently leaked
Yes.
to have out of left field. Did not think they were going to start here, but Time Force Red.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be a good one.
Yeah. That. I mean, it's not out of left field in terms of being a fan favorite, but like, yeah, did not see it coming at all.
Yeah,
Well, I
I
guess
didn't think
Dimensions
there
in
was-
Danger maybe because he played such a big role there. That's
Yeah,
the only
but
thing I
they-
could think.
They still haven't done the other Rangers from Dimension.
Yes,
Danger.
but he had arguably the biggest role other than Tommy because everybody shows up, but he's the one that's like, "Hey, I have a message for you" at the end of the one episode, and then he's like, "Come on!" And he kind of brings everybody together. He's sort of like the harbinger
Yeah.
of the whole thing.
But wouldn't you make an argument to have the rest of the Tommy Rangers in it?
They're gonna make all the Tommy Rangers. They've already made 2 of them. They're gonna keep going, but I'm saying
They're going to make all the Rangers. There's no doubt. This isn't Bandai. They're going to make them all. They're going to make all the Rangers. Say it with me. Knock on wood.
I want that to be true, but we never know.
I know.
And even if they do,
Uh,
it could be years before they get to like the Ranger you want. There's so many.
True. Oh, this is a rumor, but so far we've noticed all the rumors are true.
hmm
I called it. I'm so excited. Ranger Slayer.
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Ranger Slayer in 6-inch action figure
Yes.
form. So excited.
Yes. Yeah.
So excited.
And for those that don't know, Draken is out right now in the current wave. I just got mine from Target. And actually, that was something I was going to talk about. The current wave that's out now, Draken, Dino Charge Gold, Ravi from Beast Morphers, and Mighty Morphin Red, no Dragon Shield. I just found out the breakdown. Actually, I was watching MMPR Toys, and Bruno did a breakdown of a case. There's 3 Ravis, 3 Red Ranger, 1 Draken, 1 Gold. So if you want a Gold or a Draken and you see them, don't hesitate. I went in right after I'd been to Target the day before. I went back because it's one of my dentists. So I went back and I wasn't expecting to see anything, but they had a sale going on. And they had a bunch of them, meaning they had opened at least 2 cases, and they only had 1 Draken and 1 Gold Ranger, so I got them both. And I got the Gold Ranger for $15 because it was on sale, so that was even better. And actually, let me talk about the Gold Ranger for a minute. This is him, and if you notice, he's got white right here because I painted it. I didn't do a great job. I used this acrylic paint. I'm not sure I love it. There's also supposed to be white on this, which I started painting. When we were talking about this last week, I was saying it didn't look quite right to me. And I do think the gold is like a hair off what I'd like it to be. But I realized the bigger issue, no white on the neck, no white on the wings. Doing that, I think, is going to make me like him a lot more. So I was happy to get him, again, for $15, a brand new figure. no
Yeah.
problem. And the Draken, I already have the Bandai one, but the Ranger Slayer will be in scale with this one, so I'm glad I got this. And the Tommy face, I think the older evil Tommy face is better than the younger heroic Tommy face as far as being a likeness.
100% agree with you.
Yeah, it's very good. I'm gonna give you a one shot again. Was there anything? Who else was in the wave? We stopped. We only said two of them. You said Time Force and Ranger Slayer.
I don't have it pulled up.
Hold on, I think I know. Zeo Gold and
Zeo Gold.
MMPR Blue is the other one supposedly.
Mm-hmm. Which we kind of figured. I mean,
we kind of action figured. Oh.
That's going to be cool for those looking for Mighty Morphin to theoretically, knock on wood, be able to finish out that wave. And then, honestly, the next figure that they're going to make, I think, that I'm most stoked for is Time Force Pink. Like, I've been wanting a good figure of her forever.
That would be great.
Gonna be really
and you're not alone in that.
Yeah. I honestly want them to I was gonna say jump into, but I guess the better thing to say is shift into Turbo.
Yeah.
Just because we haven't really had any new version of those.
Agreed. Who do you want? If you got, who would be the first one you'd want?
Phantom, but that's not gonna happen.
I was just thinking of the core 5 because I would like a Blue Centurion or a Phantom as well. But the core 5, who would be your first pick?
Well, we would both want red for multiple reasons, but I wouldn't mind adjusting.
I mean, I would get all of them eventually, but my first pick would be red, but for TJ, not for Tommy. Not that I dislike Tommy, but I liked TJ as the red leader there, so that's who it would be.
You know what I see happening? So assuming, and they probably won't do this, but assuming they put a TJ head for Turbo Red,
right.
I could see you keeping your Bandai in space one, popping the little pin out,
right.
and putting the TJ head on it until we get it in space.
I mean, maybe, but it might be too small. It's the only thing.
No, because people used to do it with Marvel Legends for those. You just have to take the pin out.
I'm not saying I won't do it, but I also want Turbo TJ as well.
You heard it here first. So when this happens, Gaz committed to you, the people of the internet, that
I think you just cut out.
You're going to do it, is what I said. But
let me check chat as we get ready to close out this episode. Let's see, Kyle Goldfinch. Maybe this might be fat shaming, but do you think Ben might not be slim enough to be a Ranger? I don't think it matters. I mean, Justin's whole body changed. Like, I think once you get powered up, you get like a super body. So I don't think that matters.
Yeah. Also in Corey Uger, the Sentai version of Dino Charge, same thing happened.
And sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say there was an older, portly guy on that show, and he turned into a Ranger.
And going the other way, in Hyperforce, which was the spin-off of this kind of like a Future Time Force, Paul Schreier, who plays Bulk, played a different character. He was the Yellow Ranger Jack, and he's a big guy, as we know. And he didn't even get slimmed down. It's just sort of, he looked like a big football ox player kind of guy. So there's precedent, and that'd be fine. Let's see. Chun-Li Chun-Li becomes Blazing Phoenix Ranger in Legacy Wars. Yeah, I saw that. I'm kind of indifferent about it, to be honest. I know some people are excited about it, and I'm good for them. Other people are angry about it. I don't understand why. I'm kind of like, fine, whatever.
I think it's cool, and I didn't think I would get to this point, and this is also going to surprise Gazbot. I haven't logged in the game, and I don't know.
Well, so maybe this will get you to check it out again. Maybe not.
Dolly Girl, it literally didn't.
Okay. Dolly Girl says, I went to Disney World this past weekend. I remember when in 2001 and at the parade, Hollywood Studios had Power Rangers in it super long time ago. I only became aware of it. Makes sense because Disney used to own them. You can find videos of that on YouTube. I don't have a link ready, but I have seen that. I want to say, was it Wild Force or RPM, where you could find video online of the Power Rangers in the Disney parade if you look. So that's pretty cool. And Calgo Finch, Big Dog, you are adorable.
That's what I'm here for.
I mean, I can't disagree and say he's not adorable. All right, so
I've been the Big Dawg Defender.
I continue to be Gazbot.
And to the power.
To the power. Here's the end credits.
Oh, man. Wow. So much credit to Head Dog. All the credits to you.
They can hear you.
It'll make it better. Watch episode 17 next.
Isn't it 16?
No, 17.
I don't understand.
You literally have 16 and 17.
It says 15 on my piece of paper. folks.
Hey, welcome. This
No,
is Action
no,
Activate. I
no.
am Big Dawg Defender.
We talked about this before we started.
Yeah, you said to reset.
But I'm gonna put the credits and everything and the intro.
But I saw us. That means the credits are over because I'm delayed.
No, this is the credits. The opening. Oh, you jerk! You know what you're doing.
No, I kind of don't.
All right, stop talking. Pretty
Here
Twitch.
is your fake goodbye for episode 16.
This-
So we see you next time. I've been the Big Dawg Defender.
Well, you can't say it's fake going into it.
He's been the Gazbot
Stop.
Knight, and
You keep doing this. You make editing difficult for me, and I'm not. And then I'm not.
Can you edit that out?